Hey traders, let's do an update on the euro. I've been getting some questions on Twitter, on the socials. Hey, Jason, what do you guys think about being long? Ever since we got through 113, you talked about being long euros into 116. Now, what do you think? Well, let's just do a quick top down, and then I also want to talk about what I've been doing on euro pound. So, the euro, this is the most important cycle right now in the euro. Has been this monthly cycle. And you can see that the cycle bottomed really at the beginning of the year, and then we've been in this monthly up cycle for the entire year. And the dollar's been weak, and the euro's been, it started off the year more sideways, but the last 3 months has been pretty strong bid to the euro. So now we're getting back to the point where it's kind of do or die for the downtrend. And it's this whole 116 to 117 zone. So the highest monthly close was like 114 and a half. All right. Well, the monthly close, yeah, 114 and a half, and it was also the high weekly close when you look at the weekly chart. So last month we didn't close above that. But this month we shall see here in July. So that's the highest closing level, but the intra-week and intra-month highs is much higher, right? That's 117.12. So this is a whole zone. These are areas, and we'll see how this plays out. But this monthly cycle is high. It just hasn't crossed over yet. So here we have just more of the same. Here's the high up here, these weekly highs. Once we got above the bands, first we went through the French election highs, and then once we got above Trump election highs, above 113, this was the most logical thing, is that we were going to retest both of these spike highs from last year and then 2015. So what that looks like, and what we talked about is, my traders, we talk about the cycle. And right now, we're kind of right here in the cycle, most likely. So we're in the process of a good chance that we're putting in the process of a long-term lower high. We may or may not roll back over, but it's still a little bit early to just be shorting because we're still making higher highs on the intermediate term. You can see that when you look at an hourly or 4-hour chart. But you can see the daily cycle is still rising, which means for the swing time frame, the market can still come higher. So you haven't seen me make the call to start shorting the euro again versus the dollar longer term. I've only just started shorting the euro versus the pound longer term, and I'll show you why that's the case also in a second. But the 4-hour, you're still making higher highs. It's still a series of higher highs, so we have to be a little bit patient. If you start shorting here longer term, you got to realize it's contrarian, so you have to be smaller with your size. But the opportunity to start getting aggressively short for me is going to be on the next push. If we go straight to 117, and or we need to start making lower lows again. So right now all we have is higher lows. So this is a 4-hour chart. Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. What we need to see is the market come down and then break to some lower lows. Then we can be more comfortable shorting, and then we can sell the next rallies, start looking for lower highs to start shorting. Right now we're still, in other words, we have a long-term downtrend, but we have an intermediate term uptrend that's still in place. So you got to be a little bit patient how you work this crossroads. So my advice, or not knowing your individual situation, but just in general directionally, is to start selling the euro versus the pound. So here you can see the bottom of the long-term range, euro versus sterling, 2015 is down here, it's 0.70-ish. And then last time, right around Brexit, in 2016 we talked about this was most likely the long-term spike high. And so now as the euro continues to push towards this 117 area, it's time to start thinking about euro pound on the short side. So here you have the monthly cycle still rising. We made some sales last week. It was a really good trade. You can't quite see it on the daily. The daily cycle is still coming back up. But here's some of our signaling. So you can see we've been kind of picking off these highs anytime we get extended. So last week you push up towards 89 and higher, shorting, 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 getting more aggressive, and then we got the collapse. All right. Here's the same thing today. Yesterday started reselling, got more aggressive today on this move up, covered some. So our core position is just out of the money, but we're going to start trading this from the short side now. So cover some here. If you give me another push tonight or in tomorrow in London, I'm going to reshort again, and I'll start trading this with more size on a shorter time frame also. So right now I'm focused on this 88.80 area, this whole the 30 right here on the 15-minute. If you give me a rally, I'm going to start shorting again tonight and into London. And then obviously if we collapse here, I'll start covering in the money. So that's how I'm going to play the euro. I'm going to start by shorting euro versus the pound longer term. I like the location better. Cable's been pretty strong above 130. And then we'll just let this euro cycle play out. We've got to be a little bit more patient. But at some point, we're going to flip back short for the long term on the core side on the euro versus the dollar. It's just not quite there yet, but I'll keep you guys, I'll let everybody know. All right, hope that helps.